I gotta get to the blog. Um, we should at least be bringing these folks on and like telling their story. And so I've done 2 of these episodes so far, and I have another session coming up on Thursday. And again, I'm going to send you guys links to this, so don't worry. The first one was with a photographer. He started with us when he was 24. He's 29 now. He's doing a little bit over $100,000 a month. He's got his own gallery in the Panhandle in Florida. Very, very interesting story. And so sort of the format for these things is I'll interview the artist in question for like an hour. And then after the interview, we open it up to questions, in a Zoom format, like exactly like, that you guys are on right now. So the first one was with Jonah. And again, don't worry, I'm going to send you these links. The other one is with Meg. She's done, a little bit over $1 million with us now. And very, very interesting story. Painter from the Midwest. Was really intelligent early on and locking up some licensing deals. So her interview is super, super interesting. And I find that it's like, it's just really, really unique to be able to hear it in their words, how they do it, how they approach it, what their mindset's like, work-life balance, how they handle negotiations, their approaches to sales, branding, all of the various different things, right? And, her story is super, super unique too. So why was I telling you all of that? This Thursday, okay, at this exact same time, whatever your time zone says right now, we're doing another one with this customer. Do I have her pulled up? Oh, good. I do have her pulled up. Her name's Betty Franks, and it's pulling up now. Just bear with me. She's, kind of what you would, I guess, an abstract painter, I guess is what you would have to call her. And she has a very, very unique story. She didn't get started until her 50s, okay? I think she signed up with us in 2017. And then by 2020, she's been doing a little bit over $100,000 a year every single solitary year. And she has sort of like a very interesting revenue model in the way that she approaches things, and just really, really good at what she does. Huge following on Instagram. So on Thursday, at this exact same time slot, I'm running that session, and we're opening it up to literally anyone. So, if you guys want to come, like a bunch of my customers will be on there, and it's going to be the exact same format that the 2 previous were, in the sense that I'll interview for an hour. After the interview's over, it's open Q&A. So you guys can ask her any questions you like, and she's a great teacher, super, super intelligent the way that she's approached things. And so I think that could be a really, really good session. And let me just get the Zoom link. Okay, hold on, make sure I get the right one. So if you guys want to come to that one, oh, come on, why don't you let me copy this? Oh, it's always something, isn't it? Let me see if this works. Okay, hold on. I'm going to throw it in the Zoom chat. And then, if any of you guys have to leave, you can at least register for this now, and you'll be on it. Okay, I'm putting it in. Come on, get in there. Get in there. Some days my technology just works, and other days it seems it is a Monday. Okay, I'm going to throw it in the chat. I'm going to start the video, and I'm going to throw it in the chat, and anyone can register for that session. If you want to come watch it live, great. Otherwise, I probably will be emailing it out to the entire list after the fact, so if you guys want to see it after the fact, you can do that too. But I'm going to put that in the chat. I'll negotiate getting the link. I don't know what's wrong with my system. It's doing something wonky. But anyway, I'm going to start the video. One other thing I should say why the video rolls along is if you look at the bottom of your Zoom window, there's this like little, chat bubble, speech bubble looking thing. If you've got questions as the video rolls along, you're like, hey, what's that? What's the deal there? I don't really understand what just happened there. Or you just have a question, period. You could throw those in there. I will attempt to answer those in real time. If they need a little bit, more thoughtful and more involved answer, we'll just save it and I'll answer them in the Q&A. So that'll be running the whole time at the bottom. And then I'm going to get our video queued up, and I will see you guys just after this is done. And then I look forward to getting into the Q&A. All right. A super small group today, which tells me there's something wrong with my email system, but that's okay. So that's good news. That means I can pour a ton of energy into all of you guys. We got Mark McClanahan on here, and my last name's Patrick Shanahan. He and I are clearly related back in the old country somewhere, which is hilarious. Yeah, well, I'm really excited that you guys are all here. And despite the small group today, I will change absolutely nothing with the presentation. I will just get to pour more energy into you guys, your comments, your questions, your concerns. I call this thing the Q4 boot camp because Q4 is coming, but I want to rant about something else because it's top of mind and it's important to me. And it's not Instagram, but we'll talk about that in a second too. Let me get off that so it's not distracting. So I should say I've been at this business for like, I don't know, 8 years, and it was in the art industry before that. And I've been running sessions like this essentially like 3 days a week since right around the time the pandemic started. So it's got to be 50,000 artists and photographers now over the course of that entire time. We have a little bit over 10,000 customers at Art Storefronts. I get to see all their data, not only on who's selling what prices, this, that, and the other, but also like where did their traffic come from that actually led to these sales. What I've come to realize in all of that is there's only three viable ways to make it today as an artist, photographer who wants to sell their creations. Only three. And let's talk about the three. And to give it some teeth, let's just say a successful art business. I know everyone's definition of that is a little bit different, right? But for the sake of argument, let's just say a successful art business is an art business in which you have gross sales of $100,000 a year, right? It sounds like a lofty number, fine, but let's just say that. So, okay, there's only three ways to get there. Number one way, the way that everyone on this call would prefer to do, get into a gallery where all you have to do is create and they do everything else. That sounds awesome, right? Okay, let's work those numbers through. You're in a gallery, and you're doing $100,000 a year in gross sales. The gallery takes 50%. So that means at the end of the day, you get $50,000 back. And because it's gross sales, then you have to subtract your studio, your materials, your trips, your tripods, your lenses, all of that, and maybe you're left with $35,000. Hardly a living wage. Let's make that picture a little bit rosier. And by the way, the number of artists that are in that situation that are selling $100,000 a year in a gallery is probably less than 1 or 2% of the total artists and photographers that are out there trying to sell their art and photography. Let's make that picture a little bit rosier, and let's say $300,000. Okay, let's triple it in gross sales a year in a gallery. And with the aforementioned 50% haircut, 150, okay, you're making 100 grand a year. That's fantastic. That's less than 1%, probably less than 0.2% of artists and photographers out there. So in terms of like a viable path forward, the way that I like to explain making it in a gallery is to have that level of success that way as an artist or photographer is kind of like playing a sport versus being a professional athlete. How many people do you know play a sport? How many professional athletes do you know, right? Like the odds are just not fantastic. And the real death knell to the gallery model is you guys are all going to be artists and photographers for the rest of your life. I routinely get people on these calls in their 90s still trying to sell their art, which is amazing. And you realize it's the long game. Wherever you are, you have a ton of time left, right, to do this, God willing, of course. If you don't know who's purchasing your art and you can't market to them for the rest of your life, you don't have the ability to develop collectors. Collectors are folks that will come back and keep buying from you again and again and again, year after year after year. And it's the lifeblood of any art business. In the gallery model, you don't know because the gallery doesn't tell you who purchases. It's important to state that, important to understand that. All right, let's table the gallery model for a sec. Next is to become a road warrior. A road warrior is someone that does anywhere from 25 to 45 shows a year. The fairs, the shows, the farmers markets, the thises, the that's. And you are loading that car up, setting up the booth. Sometimes it's a dud, sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's inclement weather. You're away from your family, you're 8 hours a day on your feet. It is not easy, it's hard. That being said, totally viable path to get there. If I was an artist myself and I was like looking back at my life and I wanted to give my like 20-year-old self some advice, okay, Emma, talking to you, you're the young one here, it would be like, don't have a wife, don't have a significant other, don't have kids, don't have a mortgage. And if you have any of those things, it's just a generalization. You're the young one and I'm looking at you. So go and do that when you're young. Because if you can do that when you're young, when you don't have the aforementioned significant other and kids and soccer games on Saturdays and a mortgage, that's when you're the freest to be able to do that. And it's totally a viable path. Like I've got multiple customers that are in their 50s and 60s that did it for years and years and years. One guy I think of, this guy Bill Stidham, 175,000 miles on his van in 6 years that he just used for his art shows. I mean, he hit it hard. You know what that guy has now? Healthy 6-figure-a-year business, and he barely does any shows anymore because he built up a list, he built up a customer base, he built up collectors. The third way, okay, is what everybody really truly has to do. It's what you want to do, which is, I know I'm not going to get into a gallery. I know I'm not doing the show and fair circuit. That's just too much. I can't be that road warrior. So I want to sell direct. I want to understand who's purchasing my work. And it's totally a viable path. It's what we advocate. Here's the rub, though. You have to market your own art. You have to market your own art. There is no one that is going to market it for you. And for some people, that is a painful thing to hear. For most artists and photographers, it's a painful thing to hear. But it's true. Anyone that's been in this business for any period of time knows that you guys are all sold a bill of goods that somehow an artist or a photographer's vocation is just to create this amazing thing and everything else just happens, and nothing could be further from the truth. You have to get good and understand that marketing yourself is just as important a job as creating what you create. And the sooner you come to terms with that, the way better your life becomes. Why? Because there's never been a better time in the history of the world to do it. Not even close. I mean, for those of us that are older and remember the days before these things existed and before social networks with hundreds of millions of people worldwide were on their phones all day long, do you know how hard it was? Do you know how much harder it was? You were geographically fixed on the planet somewhere, and that's where you started, and that's what you had. You had to grind way harder. Now, if you take your marketing vocation seriously, if you're like, I'm going to get good at this, if you realize that your art business is essentially 2 trains on 2 tracks. Train number 1, your art, your craft, your creations, your subject matter material, your brush, your lens, how good you get with all of that. That train has its own path, and it will go throughout the rest of your career. You want to get better at it. You want to make sure that train has no brakes. The other one is how good you get at marketing yourself. And you need to treat it seriously, and you need to turn it into an art form. And if you understand those 2 things, that is the path that artists and photographers get on, will become successful, will have a business that is growing year after year after year. And I really firmly do believe there's never been a better time in the history of the world to do that. But it's actually simple. Simple, not easy. Not easy in the fact that you guys have to get good at marketing. Not good that you have to take it seriously. Not good that you have to learn how to do this. And nobody likes doing it. I totally get that, okay? I mean, I run the marketing department here. Truth be told, I don't even like doing it, okay? Posting on socials on a regular basis, content marketing, right? Running sales, all the things that you have to do. But I don't know what the alternative is. I don't know what the alternative is. Because of all the tens of thousands of artists and photographers that have come through these Zoom sessions in the last 3 years, there are maybe 1 or 2 that were doing great in the gallery. And I saw specifically, like right when COVID hit and all those gallery people got closed up, those people were flooding into these Zooms going, what do I do? I've got nothing. My income's done, right? It was terrifying. The road warriors are the road warriors. And then there's nothing else. You know, there's nothing else. Like I've had like 6 people tell me they make more $10,000 a year on Saatchi, Fine Art America, Redbubble. I've had a couple of people on Etsy that are doing like $20,000 or $30,000 a year, but I haven't heard anyone else. So when you realize those odds, and please don't take it cynically, like this is only going to happen for you if you sign up at art storefronts. I don't care where you sign up or what you do, but I do care that if you want to take this business seriously and you want to see it growing year after year, it's the 2 trains, 2 tracks, no brakes. 2 trains, 2 tracks, no brakes. Okay. Now that rant is over with, I call this thing a Q4 boot camp, and I love the marathon analogy, all right? I hate running. I will never sign up for a marathon in my life. But I know some people that have, and there's one thing that you notice about those people that sign up for the marathon. As soon as you fill out that form for that miserable activity, your whole life changes. Why? You know the pain is coming. You start eating a little bit better. You start training and taking your exercising more seriously. You start getting better sleep. If it's me, you work on that drinking habit that you have, right? All of these things in your life, you start taking more seriously. And my contention, having been in this business for close to 10 years now, and having seen what goes on in Q4 the last 3 months of the year, it's a marathon that you're signed up for whether you know it or not. And the training that you do between now and then, between the 4th quarter, the buying season, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you roll up to Christmas, all of those sales that are in the water, all throughout that. More art, more photography is sold in the 4th quarter than the other 3 quarters combined almost sometimes. Like our customers that do it well have a good year based on what that 4th quarter is. And so my contention is that you're signed up for that marathon whether you know it or not. And the question is, what are you going to start doing between now and then? What are you going to start doing between now and then to get ready? Because if it's wait until things start getting colder, kids are back at school, you're running around like a crazy person, next thing you know, it's Thanksgiving. Oh, I got to have a sale. And then you post something on Facebook and send an email to 6 people. Not going to be good. Not going to be good, right? So we need to start training now, right? We need to start getting our businesses in order now. And there's a number of different ways that you can approach that and that you can contemplate it. But step 1 in all of it is have it in the back of your head. It's coming. What you do between now and then is going to dictate the level of success that you have, and it is the most important time of the year to be selling. Without question, not even close. And you have to have your art up on the website. You have to start working on an email list. You have to start marketing regularly and consistently on the social media platforms. If you do that now, you're gonna wake up come October and you're gonna be like, oh, got a little momentum in my back. Things actually look pretty good here. People actually know who I am, and I have the ability to market and run some sales when Black Friday and Cyber Monday comes along. So very, very important to understand that happens every single solitary year. Every year it is absolutely fantastic in terms of sales, in terms of art and photography. So all very, very important. Pricing is another big one. And pricing is one of my favorite topics in this business period, right? And do you know what I love more than anything else? All the bullshit advice that's out there based on pricing. Here's the formula that you use for pricing. It's material cost times square inch times media times your time. Yeah, okay, great. Thanks for that. Magic, really. The only thing that matters is whether or not the art sells. There is no magical formula that's going to help you price your art if the art doesn't sell, which is why all of those formulas are nonsense. Pricing is quite simply this. And it's awesome and it's freeing. And once you do it, once you realize this lesson, and I have like a really in-depth article on this, and I'm going to send it to all of you. You, creative types, need to have prices from 0 to 100. You need to have prices from 100 to 1,000. You need to have prices over 1,000. And you need to have one thing in the shop that is obscenely expensive. Okay? And let me break that all down with some real numbers. The 0 to 100 is really, really easy, especially if you're reproducing your artwork in terms of prints. But you also have to have non-wall art as a part of your lineup. Okay? It can't just be wall art. And the reason is that not everybody is ready to buy wall art all the time. And so you're out there, you're doing your marketing, you're getting your art, your photography in front of people, and they're like, wow, I really like this person. I really like their creativity. Problem, I'm not in the market for art right now. I want to reward this person for their talent, but I'm not in the market for art right now. If only they had something that was non-wall art related. Oh, they don't. Tell you what, I'll make a mental note to come back here. I'm going to go watch some cat videos, and you know what the masks do there, right? They're not coming back. They're never coming back. So the importance of having the non-wall art is so critical. No one talks about this enough. A business, specifically your guys' businesses, can be judged how well they are growing on one metric and one metric alone. The number of new customers you are acquiring per year. The number of new customers you are acquiring per year. Why? Why? Because the easiest customer to get is the one that you already have. It is significantly easier to get somebody to come back and purchase a second time than it is to go out and find a new person and have them purchase for the first time. And this is just a fundamental rule of most businesses, but specifically this business. And I alluded earlier to how important it is to not sell in galleries so that you know who is purchasing your work. There is a phenomenon in here. I stole it from this guy, so I always give him credit. Hold on, I'm going to grab his book. I stole this from Weiland, okay? Weiland is the whale guy. Most would say the best-selling artist in the United States. By the way, this book, fire! Okay? Insane. Amazing. You need to go buy it. Honestly, I should be on commission for this. In fact, he's got a gallery close to where I live. I'm going to go in there and get it. Short, sweet, no fluff. I'm sorry, here it is. But the rub is it's not on Amazon. I think he donates 100% of the proceeds to charity, so you have to buy it from his website. But honestly, Google this book and buy this book. Weiland defines a collector as someone that will purchase in upwards of 7+ pieces of art from him over the course of a lifetime. And this is a phenomenon I see played out continually with my own customer base. But when you have collectors, it's a phenomenon of this business, right? Like there's certain product categories that have collectors, right? If you ask my 7-year-old kid, it's those damn Pokemon cards. They're all over my floor right now. You guys would laugh if you saw these. But shoes, cars, wristwatches, art is one of them. And it's a fantastic thing because you will keep creating throughout the course of your life. And these collectors will just go along for the ride. You keep raising prices, they keep coming and buying and buying and buying. Oh, that's awesome. Emma just said that book is on Spotify for free. I did not know that. Definitely listen to it. You want to highlight it, though. I'm not kidding. Great book. Where was I going with all that? So if we know the most important thing an art business can have as a collector, and then we know in order for a collector to become a collector, they first have to purchase something, that underscores how important it is to have non-wall art as a part of the lineup, okay? That's the 0 to 100 range. Also in there, you obviously have small prints. And then let's say you're 100 to 1,000, you get into some bigger size prints, right? your metals, your canvas, your acrylic. You go through that 0 to 1,000 range, and maybe close to the 1,000 range, you're in limited editions, and then above that, you have your originals. Everyone has to adjust it a little bit to taste. But you also need something obscenely expensive in the store. And let's say that you sell your originals, just to keep the math simple, at like $1,000. I want one in there for 10 grand. And why? Why one in there for 10 grand? That's crazy. I'm never going to sell that thing. I don't even care if you don't ever sell that thing. You ever been to a car dealership? And you know, in the car dealership, that the big glass box in the middle, I know the car dealership is a miserable feeling in most people's heads because you have to deal with the salespeople. But anyway, the big glass box in the middle, right? Let's say we're at the Toyota dealership. In that big glass box in the middle is the Toyota Supra carbon fiber TRD whatever. It's $275,000, right? There's a reason that they put those cars inside the glass box, and it's because human beings are wired to make purchase decisions based on comparison. We anchor onto certain things to compare to other certain things. And so when we go and look at that $250,000 Supra or the $150,000 Land Cruiser that's inside the glass box, we anchor onto that price point, and it makes us feel just that much better about buying the $60,000 Highlander, right? That's on the outside. And that's a phenomenon called price anchoring, and it's just one of these psychological things that's really, really, really important to do. You feel better knowing that I didn't buy the most expensive thing. It makes you feel a little bit better. That's why you put that high-priced item in there. Also, everyone's followers, yours, mine, any business, that all fall into a thing that I call the socioeconomic bell curve, okay? It's your typical bell curve, exactly what you'd expect. And down at the low end of it, you have the low socioeconomic status. Those people can't afford anything. They'll like, comment, share on your post. They're still good people. Then you have lower income folks, middle class, upper middle class, high net worth individuals, the bell curve, right? You know, what does everyone always say to me all the time? Yeah, I just want to target high net worth buyers. Yeah, good. That's great. You and every other business on the planet, aside from the 99-cent store, wants to target the high net worth buyers, okay? That is why it's insanely difficult to do that. But the point is, you need to have this range of pricing that I'm discussing to be able to cover all of the spots on that bell curve. Because what happens when you do that is you acquire the highest number of customers possible. And the beautiful thing about acquiring the highest number of customers possible is you can market to these folks in the future. The bell curve is not a fixed entity. Your buyers and potential buyers are going up and down that bell curve their entire lives. The one that's living in their mother's basement right now is buying their new house 2 years from now. And you got that sale. Do you want to know why you got that sale? Because you sold them a mug or a mouse pad or a calendar or a whatever, and it sat on their fridge. It could be a sticker, okay, that's on my garage fridge with all the rest of the stickers. And every time I go out to get a beer, which is an enjoyable experience for me, I look at your art, okay? Now I've moved out of my mother's basement, and I'm going to go buy a house, and you got that sale. And that's how it works. And I get a lot of pushback on the merch. Okay, I'm a fine artist, Patrick. I would never sell that merch, that cheap tchotchke crap. I'm not doing that. To which I respond, let me know the last time any of you went to a museum that didn't have a gift shop. I'll wait. Okay? If Van Gogh's Starry Night is on the wall, and you can also buy a Starry Night poster in the gift shop for $22 plus tax, I'm pretty sure Van Gogh's not losing any sleep over it. Technically, he's really asleep. He's dead. But you get the point, okay? You get the point. You ever been to a concert that hasn't had merch? I don't think so, okay? The Rolling Stones, take your pick, okay? Merch is very, very important in the simple lens that you acquire more customers as a result of it. So having that price range is huge. What is one of the most defeating things that happens to artists and photographers out there? You worked hours on a piece. I mean, hours. It took so much time. You're going to sell this thing for $800, and what happens? Someone's like, yeah, that's beautiful. Would you take $25 for it? Oh, you're just deflated, right? Like this person is just, I mean, it's like a troll on social media. I mean, they have just ruined your entire day. The beautiful thing is, when you have the range of pricing, it doesn't happen as much. It almost doesn't happen at all. Because people understand, they have a context of where things are in your lineup. Oh, this is $100 and under. Oh, this is $100 to $1,000. Oh, this is over $1,000. Oh, that's the $5,000 piece. And what's more, when you get those folks who don't know any better, okay, most of them are not dead people, they just don't know any better, you can be like, oh, that's fantastic. I love that you have the interest. That one costs quite a bit more, but let me show you what is in your range. and then we gently guide them to where we are in our range. Do you know how much better that is for your self-esteem? Okay, let me tell you, significantly better. It is significantly better for your self-esteem. You are going to be a happier and better functioning member of society, okay? Your significant other is like, this is awesome. Why are you in such a good mood? It's because you have the range of pricing. Very, very important. That's pricing. I'm going to send you a follow-up article on it after this whole thing's over. In addition to the pricing, the next thing I want to talk about is Instagram. Most important social network for artists and photographers. It's not even close. Secondarily, it's Facebook. Okay, have to be working on both of them. Well, Patrick, what about TikTok, or what about Pinterest, or what about SEO? Yeah, what about shiny objects that are not going to move your business anywhere and are going to put you on the road to a hobby? All right, that's what all the rest are. I don't care what anyone else says, anyone's friends, anyone. No one is selling art on any of the rest of those things, okay? They are lying to you if they're saying they are. It's nonsense. I've looked at way too much data. Aside from onesies, twosies here with weird circumstances, the two most important places that you need to be are Instagram and secondarily Facebook. And thank God for that. Okay, don't talk to me about TikTok. I'll kick you right out of this Zoom. You are lying to yourself, okay? Stupid Chinese app, communist app that is just trying to flood you with an endorphin hit. You got 10,000 views. You didn't get 10,000 views. You got 100 views from people that are never going to buy your work, okay? So when we stay focused on the only two platforms that matter, to the detriment of wasting time on any of the rest of those ones. I don't care. Just stay out of there. Stay in my lane. Facebook and Instagram and Facebook. You will end up winning. And why is Instagram the most important? What do you guys create? You create visual creations. What is Instagram? A giant visual search engine. Imagine that. Lines up pretty nicely, right? The beautiful thing is that Instagram has become, over the years, evolved into the credit check for artists and photographers. What do I mean by that? I'm going to buy something. I saw something. My neighbor had something. It's really important for me to keep up with the Jones. I'm going to go look at what he got. And what am I doing? I'm going instantaneously to Amazon. I'm going to read the reviews. Was that thing good? Is there a better one? Maybe there's a better one. Maybe I can one-up this guy because I got to keep up with the Jones. Now, we check Amazon is a way of getting credit checks, like getting the reviews of what something is, right? So you could say Consumer Reports or some of the other sites too. For artists and photographers, it's like, hey, I just saw this. I'm at your friend's house. You sold some art to your friend. I saw that. That's a great piece. Who did that? Oh, yeah, it's my buddy. It's my cousin, Mark McClanahan over there. And you should check him out. You know what they're going to do? They're going to pull out Instagram, and they're going to look for you, and they're going to look at your profile, and are they going to say, is this an artist that's doing anything? Is this an artist that's putting out content regularly? Are they on the up and up? Do they have 2 followers or 2,000 followers, right? And it's very, very important to understand, one, that Instagram offers a credit check, okay? So fundamentally, it's important just for that matter. 2, secondarily, and I should also say, like, you know, the data in this industry is so utterly, totally, completely opaque, right? Like, there's so much nonsense out there, it's mind-boggling. But there's 2 outfits that report on the super high end of the art market. One's the Hiscox Group, it's an insurance entity out of London, and the other is Art Basel teams up with UBS Payne Weber, I think that's who it is. The 2 of them put out a report, and what they do is they survey every year all of the folks that are essentially buying $100,000 pieces and up. And every single solitary year, I've watched the results of those reports when it comes out, and every year it ticks up. Did you follow and or consume content from an artist on Instagram? Was Instagram influential in your buying decision? And in both cases, both of their surveys, like, those percentages are really pretty high. So it's significant in its ability to help you guys sell art. The top-end, high-end buyers are all there, okay? So that makes it very important as well. The beautiful thing about Instagram is you can reach a ton of buyers. The terrible thing about Instagram is you have to post frequently on it for years to really make a huge dent. So, yeah, 1, you got to get started. 2, you have to understand you're going to suffer in the short term, because it's not easy, and you have to learn how to do it, and you have to learn how to enjoy it and get good at it. And we can talk about that in depth. I have a ton of teaching on Instagram. But the beautiful thing that exists currently on Instagram, and I love this. Okay, we're going to have to do a little social media history lesson. But Facebook emerged. Facebook pretty much became a monopoly. Okay, power was unchecked. Then a new rising competitor came along, and Facebook is like, we can't have any competition. It was Instagram. We're going to go buy those folks. So they bought them. Okay, great. Now Facebook's even more powerful. It's Facebook and Instagram. I'm streaming on their platform when I'm saying this, so I get banned. You guys will know why. Zuckerberg kicks my door, and you'll know why. So now they own these two platforms. So the playbook was, we are a monopoly. If any competitors come along, we're just going to buy them. Okay. Snapchat emerges. Snapchat starts taking all of these young kids away from Facebook and Instagram. They're like, all right, what does the playbook say to do in this situation? Let me see the playbook. Mark, it says if we have a competitor, go and buy it. All right, somebody go and buy Snapchat. So they go and try and buy Snapchat. Snapchat says pound sand. Mark's like, okay, what does the playbook say now? We don't know. He goes, all right, we're just going to copy them verbatim. And so Snapchat had these things called stories that disappeared after 24 hours, and Facebook copied them verbatim. So, okay, now Snapchat peters out. I mean, who's using that? I don't know. Some kids, whatever. It's whatever. I don't want to talk about it. The next one came along. This time it was TikTok. And Mark Zuckerberg went right back to the playbook. He's like, okay, this is awesome. TikTok is starting to steal a bunch of our users. It's competition. What should I do? Let's go try and buy them. He goes and tries and buy them again. They tell him no. He said, my wife is Chinese. Let me buy you. They still said no. So the next thing they do is they're like, okay, what is the playbook saying next? Copy them verbatim. And so that's what they did. And by the way, the other social players were watching, and now YouTube watched, and they're like, okay, let's copy them verbatim. So what did TikTok have? These short form little videos that were 120 seconds or less and were very compelling cell phone style video size. They copied that feature verbatim and called it Instagram Reels. YouTube saw that, copied that feature verbatim, called it YouTube Shorts. I could cycle through the 3 views of those 3 different products, and you could almost not tell the difference. They even put the buttons in the same place as copycats. Anyway, why it was a brilliant thing, TikTok coming along, is it destroyed what has been up to that point in time the social contract. What is a social contract? What do I mean by that? Hey, art storefronts, work really hard on my platforms, Facebook and Instagram, and post a bunch of content. When you do, people will follow you and become fans. After you earn those followers and those fans, some small portion of what you create will be shown to those followers and fans for free. Early on in the days, it was like 90%. Recently, it's like 2 to 5%. Tiny, almost nothing, right? So that is what the social contract was. TikTok, God bless them, despite the fact that don't like the platform and think it's evil, has been still siphoning off users from Instagram at an alarming rate. It's all the younger kids and the people that are chasing likes that are not real and chasing views that are not real. It's a worthless platform. Anyway, so what they've done is they've torn up the social contract. So now where we are is we're in a scenario where you can get onto Instagram and you can have 2 followers, your significant other and your mother, okay? She likes and comments on everything. God bless you. Thank you, Mom. You can create content in the form of an Instagram Reel. And an Instagram Reel can potentially, if it's good, be seen by hundreds, by thousands, by even millions. In which case, you organically marketing without leaving your house, showing off your creations, understanding the platform, can get free reach. It used to be you didn't get that. And it used to be you had to pay a ton of money in terms of Facebook and Instagram ads to get that attention. Now you can do that without leaving your house. And that's an incredible, incredible thing. So it represents a huge, huge opportunity. And so that's where we stand right now as it sits in 2023. I believe Instagram is the most amazing platform that exists that can bring you guys buyers, bring you guys fans, bring you guys email addresses, and yes, sell your art with photography, but you have to get good at marketing it. You have to understand how to post. You have to work on your posting frequency, and you have to learn to love it. You have to learn to love it. Which does get easier, especially if you have support and community to push you that way. You know, one of the analogies I've been playing with a ton recently, and you'll end up hearing this if you listen to the podcast at all, is I've come to realize you guys are all chefs. This is like the biggest problem why art and photography businesses don't ever go anywhere. You guys are all chefs, right? And your superpower is cooking. And you say, I want to have a restaurant. I want to have this really big restaurant that everybody loves and that's growing year after year after year. Okay. The problem is, not only are you the chef, you're the receptionist, you're the maitre d', you're the waiter, you're the sommelier, you're the bartender, and you're cleaning up the dishes after the fact, right? You have to wear all of those hats in this business. You have to do all of those individual things. And the more time that you spend doing all of those individual things, the less time you're over-indexing on your superpower, which is creating the art in the first place. So as I look back over the evolution of what we've done as a business at Art Storefronts, whether or not I realized it then, our whole reason to exist is to try and help you, the chefs, the artist, to try and take away as many of those jobs as there are, right? And I really think it's like a very valuable mental framework to have, whether you guys ever sign up with us or not. And I just want to finish this rant and then we'll go right into the Q&A. One, a website is a commodity. It's utterly, totally, and completely worthless. Not a single solitary one of you has a website problem, meaning if I moved your business to any website you wanted, absolutely nothing would change, okay? You still have to have one, right? When you get one and you get your art up on it and you can sell your art on it, that essentially knocks out the receptionist, okay? What is the next step in that whole process that we've done, at least at Art Storefronts? One of the hats that you should not be wearing is the maitre d'. It's stated another way. You should not be designing the website, programming the website, learning CSS, learning HTML, speaking GoDaddy, worrying about any of that nonsense, searching forums for answers. Waste of your time. You're not doing your superpower. So we learned somewhere along the line, do you know what? We can't let our customers do this anymore. So now we set up the websites for you. We don't even let you do it because it is a waste of your time and you're not doing your superpower. Next is POD. You guys, POD is an utter, total, and complete game changer. Print on demand. It means your work reproduced as prints or as merch, zero minimums, zero interaction, zero going to the printer, zero waiting around for FedEx or UPS, zero sending to anyone a confirmation of a tracking number, right? The order comes in. This is how our system works. We're not the only ones. There's other ones. The order comes in. You get paid. Printer gets paid. Order gets printed. Order gets boxed. Your logo goes on the box. It gets shipped. All the emails get sent. You do not lift a finger, right? That's a hugely, hugely important one. Then, as we get into the next jobs, we start getting into the more complicated stuff because what you guys absolutely really need is you have to solve the marketing problem. It's the single solitary biggest problem every single solitary person on this call has, and every single solitary artist or photographer has, and it's never going away, okay? So our latest creation that we've just come out with in the last, I think it's been running for 8 months now. We've created this thing called Copilot. Everyone's creating things called Copilot in today's day and age. Whatever, I don't want to talk about. What is Copilot? Because we have our customers' images up on their website, because we can control their website via software, we've now become an ESP, an email service provider. So we take all of their emails, which we had already anyway in our system. Then we connect to your Facebook. Then we connect to your Instagram. And what we've started doing is posting on our customers' behalf on Facebook and Instagram, emailing their list on their behalf, and then executing sales on their behalf. Turning on the discount code in the store, putting up the announcement bar on their site that says 15% off this week only, sale on metal, then sending out the emails that announce the sale, then doing all the posts that announce the sale. After the sale is done, winding all of that down, turning it all back to normal and keep going. So the reason we're doing that is because all artists and photographers throughout the history of time have treated their marketing like their New Year's resolution of going to the gym. This is going to be my year. I'm going to do it. January, you're going 4 days a week. That's awesome. March, you hit the wall. You haven't been to the gym once. Rinse and repeat. Year after year after year. It is the vicious cycle. All of you are nodding your heads. I know. Trust me. I've been doing this for a long time. I've talked to so many of you. And not only that, okay, not only that, why also did we create Copilot? Because marketing is really hard and really sophisticated. Like most people think oh, I'm gonna have a sale. I'm gonna post one thing on Facebook, send one email, let it go for a week, and I'm done. No. You tease a sale. You announce a sale. You send multiple emails. You send emails to the people that didn't open the emails. You have about 25, 30 posts during the duration of the sale. Then you extend the sale, and then not only that, you need to be replying to all the comments, all the email replies, willing to get on Zoom sessions and talk to people during the sale. That's a lot, right? And so I would teach my customers how to do this because I'm really good at this. And do you know what I would get? Hey, guys, you're going to do it, right? Everybody's in a Zoom session. Here's the calendar. Here's all the things that we're going to do. And I would get a bunch of yes, okay? And I'm not talking about the band. Yeah, Patrick, I'm going to do it. And then you know what I would do after the fact? I would audit it. And do you know how many of them did it? About 5% did it, okay? So with my customers, it is a nonstop battle all year long, okay? We employ everything that we have in our arsenal. Yes, teaching. Yes, community. Yes, I yell at them. So mild harassment, sometimes bribery, sometimes encouragement, accountability, everything that we can just to keep them marketing, just to constantly take those forward steps. Because let me tell you, no one's coming for you. No one's going to magically discover you. A gallery's not going to call you out of the blue. You're not going to get some special dispensation from the French court. This isn't the 1400s, okay? If you want your career to go, you've got to do the grinding to make it. And it is my position, remains my position, that there has never been a better time in the history of the world to be able to do that. Base 100% on this thing, what you can achieve, what size audience you can get in front of. So it's exciting, but you still got to do the work, right? But you still got to do the work. Anyway, enough of my ranting. We can get into the Q&A. How does it work? If you're one of the brave ones, there's kind of a lot of you guys on here now, so we're going to have to do the digital hand raise thing. So if you guys look at the bottom of your Zoom window, you see this little smiley face looking thing that says reactions, okay? If you hit the reactions button, there's a way to raise your hand. It says raise hand there. And then that lets me know you have a question. I can unmute you, bring you on. You can ask a question. If you don't want to turn your camera on, you don't have to turn your camera on, okay? I hate being on video. This wasn't my job. You would have no idea what I look like. I have a face for radio, so you don't have to turn your camera on if you don't want to turn your camera on, okay? If you want to throw a question in the chat, you could do that too, okay? But I usually prioritize the hands raised. And I need one brave person to kick us off. All it takes is one. Someone's always just got to be brave the first time. Come on, one of you guys have got to step up. Either if you have your camera on, I'm picking on you guys because I can see you guys. Just somebody raise your hand and say, okay, yeah, I've got a question. Oh my gosh, it's just Monday. Everybody's just shy on a Monday. I see how it is. Okay, see, Renee, that's what I'm talking about. I appreciate you. And Brenda, I'll get to you next. Don't worry. All right, Renee's going to kick us off. Oh, you'll have to unmute. I forgot, Renee. There's mic icon in the bottom left-hand corner. If you just, boom, click it. Yep, gotcha.
Hello.
Hi.
So I want to start my own online gallery on my website.
Yes.
Is that possible to do, or is that you provide that? Or
yeah, it's you're caught up in the semantics. Like you could use us, you could use any other solution. If you've got a bunch of images up there and you have gallery on the very top of the website, congratulations, you started your online gallery, right? So
okay.
you don't have to get caught in the weeds. Now the question is that, so what you're trying to do is have presumably not just your art, but other people's art too. Is that other artists too? Is that the idea?
No, I wanted just to have my artwork.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
As like an exhibition, and then I have my prints as selling as one tab, and then the next tab would be for those accessories like phone cases and
yep.
Selling out of those.
The gift shop model. Yes. 100%. Very easy. That's what we do. We can help you.
So do you think a solo exhibition is
I mean, it's
possible?
Again, you're caught up in the nomenclature. Like, this is how 100% of my customers do their sites. I mean, it's just an online art gallery to them for the most part, right? Like, actually do have some galleries on the platform too. But yeah, it's very, very easy. Just know when you get the website done and it's all up there and it's beautiful and you can take credit card and you can sell all those things and you can fulfill all those things, congratulations, you just started your journey.
And I have a Wix website started already. So if I were to partner with you guys, would you be able to work with that? Or is it something?
No, but you don't know, and you don't need the Wix website. Ours is about 1,000 times better than the Wix one anyway. You don't want it. You wouldn't need it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those were my questions.
Very good questions. And thank you very much for going first. I really appreciate you. Okay. All right, Brenda, you're up next. Go ahead, Brenda.
Hey, thank you for taking my call.
Yeah.
I landed on your landing page in Facebook a couple of days ago and I signed up, and hence that's why I received an email and text to sit in on today's call. Still haven't received contact to talk to somebody about reviewing, like going through the whole onboarding system.
I gotta write your name. I gotta write your name down, otherwise I'll forget. Hold on. So let me just put it.
Okay.
Let me put it in the someone better contact her immediately channel. All right.
Just curious. And then when I do, if I partner with you, what's the lead time, the turnaround time? If I was to get is it like digital files to you guys to upload and do all that? Are we talking a week turnaround, 2 weeks, a month?
To have the site up and running and ready. I think our record is 3 days, but I think that usually to go into CYA mode, say 2 weeks. But it almost always, like 100% of the time, comes down to you, right? Saying like, "Ooh, let me just get this together. Let me just get that together." You don't need any of that. Like if it was me, because I'm like launch immediately, and again, this is assuming you already signed up, so you've already paid for it, so there's no sales pitch. Put one image up if you only have one image ready. Put the about me, put your title up there and get going, right? Like get going immediately. Don't wait, especially given the time that we have right now, which is the fourth quarter. You want to talk about one thing that kills artists? Perfectionism. I will just get going when everything is just perfect, right? And the days turn into weeks, turn into months, right? So yeah, that just goes on forever and ever.
Oh, all right. Thank you. I enjoyed the call.
Oh, great. Glad. Yeah, thank you. And you said something too, like thanks to the call. It was like a talk radio thing. Like, what did you say right when you started? I don't know, but it was something I hear on talk radio. Like, thanks for calling on me or whatever. Okay. I think it's Hillary or Hilaire.
Hilaire.
Okay, Hilaire.
Yes. So how many new pieces of work can you upload a month?
As many as you want. There's no limitations there. Really, where the I think there is some sort of limitation actually, but it's a super high number, and you'd never get there anyway. The problem is that after you go past a certain level, it's analysis paralysis, and it has a negative effect on your conversion rate. And so there's kind of like a sweet spot where you want to narrow it down to a certain amount of images that you can actually sell, right? And so there's best practices there. And then sometimes people are like, well, I want to put 5,000 images up. Yeah, then you're a stock image site, and no one ever buys anything on those damn things anyway. Stop doing that, right? You're giving people too much time to decide. So less is usually more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So am I able to put my own images up, or do I have to send them into you and then you put them up?
You can put them up, right? It's your website. You can do whatever you want, but I don't want you doing any of it. Because that's you not being the chef in the kitchen, right? From my earlier analogy. Like, I don't want any of you guys wasting any of your time on nonsense that is not going to grow the business anywhere. So that's what I do. But you certainly can.
Okay. So basically it could be zero learning curve to get started.
Well, let me
except for taking pictures of the paintings.
Let me just dispel any notions of zero learning curve, okay?
Okay.
These first couple of years are miserable. All right. They are miserable.
Oh, no.
You have so much marketing that you need to learn how to do. You don't want to do it. You've never done it consistently. You don't know what that's like. You've never been through that whole process. It is going to suck. The only thing that I can tell you is you're going to be going through this miserable journey with a bunch of people in the exact same boat as you, all learning, and we're all going through it together. So that's the good news. But yes, in terms of the website, zero learning curve. That is correct.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And don't worry about getting the work photographed. People always have this question, so I might as well go through it. We have a customer that he was the official photographer for the work for Sotheby's for like 30 years, and he wrote this like mega detailed blog post on how you do it with lighting and everything else. Do you know what I want you to do? Ignore all of that. Get onto Craigslist. Do a post on Craigslist. Say photographer that has shot art before needed. Okay, we have text on what this whole post looks like. Depending on how big your city is, you'll either get hundreds or under 100 responses, and then you pick someone to come over to your house in one day and knock it all out, and they usually charge between like $25 and $35 per, and then it's done, it's perfect, and you're dialed.
Oh, great.
Yeah, one more less thing, but thank you. All right, it'll go Loretta, then Sarah Leah, then Renee, and yes, you guys don't worry. I see all of the questions in the chat. I will get to all of them. Don't worry. Loretta, go ahead.
Okay, hi. One of my questions was the one you previously answered. And I actually have a call with Randall tomorrow to go through. Is he the person who will go through what the price? I mean, this all sounds a little too good to be true.
Yeah.
So I'm like nervous about, like, do I have to sell the house to, sell our house to afford this, and I'm really curious about what the whole pricing structure looks like.
Yep. And I can give you, some other people are asking about it too, so I can give you some advice there. It's like, I think you get the sense from me that I'm very no nonsense. I'm not a sales pitch guy, right? Like,
yes, you must be from New York. I love that.
It's funny you say that. I was born in New York. I lived there for 2 months. 2 months. That's it. And then my family moved. My dad was in banking, and then my family moved to California. So I lived in California the rest of my life. Anyway.
Okay, sorry.
I believe we are the single solitary best outfit on the planet to help artists and photographers become successful. I believe that quite sincerely. That doesn't mean it's easy, and it is absolutely miserable at first, like I said. And those are just truths. It would be if you built it on your own anywhere else either, right? What we learned early on is like, we had this, what we believed to be the Ferrari awesome website solution for selling art. And it still is. It's the best one ever. But what we realized, it doesn't matter. You don't have a website problem. No one does, right? So we charge a monthly fee for a website like everyone else does. Then what we had to create next was literally, it's an undergraduate university that teaches art and photography, business and marketing, and does never stop. We have classes like this one, 9 a week, multiple times a day, every single solitary day, 52 weeks a year. We have an international staff that covers holidays and everything else. I teach them. The CEO teaches them. Other of my members in the marketing teach them. And we don't ever stop. We don't ever stop because that's the whole ball game, the whole journey. So we're expensive in the sense that we realize that if we don't provide that, we don't have successful customers. If we don't have successful customers, they cancel. That's it. So it's not too good to be true. I believe that we stack the deck better than, absolutely any other entity out there, but you still have to be doing the work. And that means learning how to do it, getting better, getting through those first couple of years where you're working like crazy with not the results that you wanted. And then, the business starts running. But there's a ton of like-minded individuals. Everybody learns from everyone. We try to keep it extremely positive, and we're with you every step of the way. Like, it's that whole chef thing, right? Like, it's really, really hard to do all of that stuff by yourself. It's really hard. Right? Like
it's like starting any business,
Yes.
Everyone, I mean, myself included, I had my full-time job. Oh, I'm going to run my own business. And it was exactly what you said. You're the shipping person, you're the order person, the designer, like everything.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, you don't sleep and you make no money.
Yes. 100%. And
that's
so
it.
When you start taking, so like, that has been our learning too, right? Like our job is just to go in and knock out as many of those roles as possible. And I feel like we're in a really good place with it right now, in the sense that with Copilot that I mentioned before, Copilot basically does all of the selling. And sort of a way to think about it is like, it's the gallerist that's working in the gallery that's doing the selling for you, right? It's handling all of that in the social media context. Then the only thing that's left for you is creating the work, okay, and everything that entails, and then giving the world a window into who you are and what makes you tick. Are you a dog person? Are you a cat person? Right? Do you live in the Midwest? Do you live in Florida? Are you a foodie? Do you like wine? Do you like beer? What are your interests? And people need to understand what that is, because no one talks about this, but art sales are 50-50. They are 50-50. They are 50% the quality of the work, and then they are 50% people getting bonded with who the artist is, what makes them tick, what makes them interesting.
Yeah, but doesn't that apply to any product that you buy?
Yeah.
There's that trust element. You have to trust the person before you buy it.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just all a huge part of it. But I don't feel like enough people talk about that, right? And like, how many artists and photographers' Instagram accounts do you go to where it's just the art, the art, the art, the art, the art, the art, the art? There's no images of them. You don't know who they are, what they do, what makes them interesting, and like, that's a huge miss, right? That's a huge miss. So yeah.
Yeah, good point. Thanks so much. You have so much information. Thanks.
Yeah, my pleasure. And get used to it. It's going to be fire hose for years, Loretta, for years. Well, it has to be. They move the goalposts. They move the goalposts too damn quickly in today's day and age. Like, I'm a marketing expert and I can barely keep up with it, right? So how the heck am I expecting you guys to? I honestly think like one of the smartest things that we do is not so much tell you what to do and how to do it and teach you all of that, which is really, really important, but force you to ignore all the nonsense that'll get you nowhere, right? Because all artists just love the shiny object. Ooh, let me try this thing. Let me try this thing. Let me try that thing. Let me try this thing. It's like, no. It's supposed to be hard work. This is the lane. Stay in your lane. Here are the people that are 3 years ahead of you in their lane. They're going to talk openly about what their numbers are like. And that is all the motivation you need. Stay in your lane, right? And it's a huge part of it. Okay. It's going to go Sarah Lee, then Renee, and then don't worry, I will get into the questions in the chat. Go ahead, Sarah Lee.
Hi, I'm getting a lot of emails in my inbox, and I'm trying to figure out how do I get to talk to a person one-on-one to sort out. I'm wondering about if you streamline services that, you might need part of it, but not all of it. And I'm in a unique situation where I actually have a summer business off cruise ships in a small town. So we have a small gallery, but there's always people asking if we have a website, which we don't.
Yeah.
And I have an Instagram account, but it's not really to market my art. I've put some up there, but ways to kind of pull forward what we've already started in other ways to get into the online market because I did have a wholesale business in the 2000s for 11 years, wholesaling across the country. And I do realize the work it takes and the business part of it, and how much time it takes. So I'm interested in learning about your services, but it would have to be streamlined to what we have.
Yeah, that's not a problem at all. I mean, how seasonal is the gallery? Does it even work keeping the doors open the rest of the year?
Well, no, 5 months of the year. We're in a very small, remote area, and it's even kind of hard for us to even get out of here in the wintertime.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, that tells me everything I need to know. Yeah, so in some ways that's kind of freeing though, right? Because then you go all in when it's season, and then when you have the downtime, you have all the energy to put into the other, right? And
right,
and it's funny. Our business is kind of like that too, right? And it's like you gotta do these various different types of strategies that so many other businesses don't, right? It's kind of like when you own the resort, like, hey, we're not painting the resort in peak season. That project is for when it closes down, right? It's so there's mindset there. But yes, do you want me to have someone contact you?
Yes, please.
I gotta get your name right. Sarah Lee Kittens. Is it in Canada, Sarah?
Alaska.
Right, unless the waves are big enough to come.
We're in Alaska, if you don't mind me asking.
Southeast.
Southeast, nice. I've been to Ketchikan. That's about as far as I've gone, but it was pretty wild.
Which they hate.
In the rain. They're pretty rainy there.
Yeah, I remember. And thank you. I'm gonna have somebody reach out. I just put you in the chat.
Okay.
I remember I went fishing with my dad. Just a quick aside, and I was maybe like in 8th grade or 7th grade or something like that, and the float plane landed in Ketchikan at like 6:30 in the morning, and we walked into a bar, and there was not a seat in the bar at 6:30 a.m. Everyone is in there, and I'm like, Dad, what the hell is going on? I'd never seen anything like that before. I was just like, welcome to Alaska. I was like, these people, they've been on the night shift, and this is how they do it. And guess what? The rest of the world is not like sunny California. Get over it and learn something, right? It was totally interesting moment. Anyway, I had a great time. Beautiful trip. Great fishing. Okay, Renee, you're up again.
Yep.
When
you talk about a collector's list,
yes,
how and sending emails out, I have yet to have my customers yet and like build that customer. And how do I create that collector's list? Do I just research? I do fashion illustration. So am I researching collectors for them?
No. The long and the short is you build it one sale at a time, right? You build it one sale at a time. And it's really not enough people. That's why, like, I'm not kidding when I said I think you guys should all buy this book. Just for reference, he does. So, no one knows for sure, like, exact numbers, but it's rumored he's doing about $40 million a year. Okay, Weiland, the whale guy. Somebody told me, by the way, that this is a free audiobook on Spotify. I can't verify that. Otherwise, this book is only on his website because he donates it to charity. But anyway, the whale guy, he's got galleries, crazy model. I feel like not enough people talk about the collector thing. And I read, Weiland talks about like how he will like his collector social media posts and send them like handwritten notes and send them the Christmas card every single solitary year. Okay, so I read all that like 7 years ago, like, right when I was getting started. I was like, this is so smart. And then, I see what happens with my customers that have done this right over like a period of a 20-year career. And why am I saying this? Because you've got time to get this right, Renee. You're young. You've got time to get this right, okay? And what happens is that they'll come out with a new collection, right? A new series. And so let's just keep it in your world. And you were inspired by some new fashion show. I don't know anything about fashion, so whatever. You were inspired by some fashion show. You did a new series of these 6 runway models, and it's 12 pieces, right? Yeah. I've seen my customers announce it to the collectors first, okay? Run a Zoom session and say, guys, I'm releasing all of these new works to the public on Friday. Because you've shown me patronage before, obviously you get to see them before anyone else. Throw all of those people into a Zoom, show them all the pieces, and 80% of it is sold before it even hits the public. And I've seen it happen again and again and again. And that's when I was just like, oh my God, Weiland is so smart, right? But the long and the short of it is you won't know who are going to become your collectors. Early on, you fake it until you make it. anyone that's on the email list, you just treat like a collector. Okay, you fake it until you make it. I don't care if it's just your mother and your sister. You fake it until you make it. All right, because it's the process.
'Cause that's all I got right now.
Yes,
My mom
exactly
and
right.
sister.
Exactly right. But we'll teach you to build an email list. Then every sale that you have, okay, you continually marketing to these people all year long, year after year after year. Inevitably, some percentage are going to come back and buy again. Once they get over the 2 threshold, that is now a collector. The mass, say some of those people will, no joke, go to 15 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 pieces from you. That's just the nature of this business, which is amazing. So early on, you don't know whose it's going to be, right? So that is why it is so important to focus on this metric, which is number of new customers acquired per year, okay? And when I was talking in the video up front about how important having the range of pricing is, what no one understands about the range of pricing is it's all so that you acquire the highest number of new customers per year possible. That's all it is. It's just maths, right? And so, you know, you have so many artists out there like that guffaw at me like, I'm not selling that cheap tchotchke merch and doing that. Like, why would I ever? I am a fine artist, right? Yeah, and you're also a fine idiot because there are rules in business that no one cares about whether or not you're a fine artist. The number of new customers that you acquired per year, and like in my example, like, do you realize I've spent tens of millions of dollars? I don't even want to know what the real number is on Facebook and Instagram ads. Do you know what I can't do with a Facebook and Instagram ad? Get in front of your eyeballs when you're not on Facebook or Instagram. Do you know what a piece of merch can do? I buy a sticker from you, Renee. It's that piece right behind you, and I like it. I stick it on my garage fridge, and every day, sometimes too many times a day, when I go to my garage fridge to get a beer, I am thinking of you and your art, okay? 3 years later, I've just hit a big bonus. I'm ready to remodel my house. Now I need some wall art. Who am I going to? I'm going to you because there was this ad on my fridge every single solitary day, and I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a mug. I don't care if it's a calendar. I don't care if it's a sticker, if it's a tote bag, a yoga mat. It doesn't matter to me. You have this opportunity to get your art in front of people. So the fact that you're already open to that is very, very important because, look, a big, expensive piece of wall art is not a spur-of-the-moment commitment. A small piece of merch is. I could buy that on a whim, right? As long as you, exactly. As long as you get my email address, you now know who I am. I know who you are, and if I come back and buy again, that's technically a collector.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And get Weiland's book. I mean, he so smart, right? To do that type of stuff. And you know, one of the things too that I pioneered during the. And you know what? I am going to humble brag here, okay? I pioneered during COVID was the notion of the live art show, right? Like the in-person live art show. And this made so much sense during COVID because everyone was on lockdown. And so you could essentially, how to run a live art show, how to run a live art show. Let me see if I can pull up this little guide. I'll send you this guide anyway, I think in the email after the fact. How many of these posts do I have? Like too many. I'm just trying to look for a video so I can show you guys kind of an example. All right, I think I got it. Let's see if this is it. So again, like, you know, what am I trying to share here? Give me the screen. This one. All right, let's see if I can, there's examples on this page. I think there are. Come on. No, that's not the example I was looking for. Doggone it. I'm just looking for one where you can actually see somebody doing it. And it's pretty simple, right? The idea is here. Yeah, here's my cousin Rob's. He has the same last name as me, so I call him Cousin Rob. So the idea is you have your laptop, you have the cell phone, right? You're filming yourself, you're talking about your art, you're showing it off, and you're streaming this live to the various different socials. Okay, this was huge during COVID because again, everyone was locked up in their rooms, their houses, and so you know even people that didn't have huge followings would do this. But I'm no joke. I ran, oh yeah, here's one I did with Meg. I ran probably like myself and my team probably ran like 200 of them, no joke. All artists, all stripes, every niche, everywhere imaginable, right? And look, it's just you talking about it. And don't worry about the nonsense below. Like, yeah, we had special software that did it all. But I ran so many of these, and they were so insanely effective. And then where I was going with it is you announce that you're doing this, and then you do a private Zoom for your collectors before, and they get to see everything before everyone else does. You treat those collectors like they're staying at the Four Seasons, right? Like they are just the VIP of the VIP, and it makes a huge difference. Like it makes a huge difference. They feel so special, and every single solitary time you do that, you're communicating to them how special that they are, right? Which is just a big deal. All right. Oh, Mike asked me about SEO. I love questions about SEO. Do you know how much you need to worry about SEO, Mike? Not at all. Zero. Do not waste even a second on worrying about SEO. Now, one, our sites do all the SEO stuff for you, so you don't have to worry about it. But it's not how art sells. It's not how art sells. Meaning, like, I want to get a landscape photo of beautiful Ketchikan. I want a photo of a bar full of people in Ketchikan, Alaska at 6 a.m., right? No one goes onto Google and finds it that way and buys. Like, it's just not how art sells. Instead, what they do is they go on and they find an artist, and then they follow them on social media. They follow a couple. They form a aforementioned bond with one of them, and that's who they buy it from, right? So there's no artist making any money on SEO. You don't have to worry about it. You don't even have to waste a minute of your time. The ads question is a more complicated one, okay? You have to differentiate between warm and cold, okay? And I might as well do this. And I'll unmute you, Mike. Just you can get unmuted in case you have any follow-up questions. My position is this. Ads, as you guys think about them, okay, are not effective for artists and photographers. They're just not. And what do I mean by that? I mean ads that you pay for on the social platforms or anyone else that goes to people that don't know you and don't have any interaction with you, okay? In ads parlance, we call it cold versus warm, right? And it's just like the relationship example. If I don't know you, I've never met you, I don't know who you are, that's cold. If I know you, I've had some sort of interaction with you, that's warm. Everyone, when you ask the ads question, they always think in their mind cold, right? I'm putting money into these ads marketplaces. They're going and showing my art to people that have never been introduced to me before, and then I am going to profit, see an ROI from that ad spend. And I'm a Facebook and Instagram ads expert on all of the platforms these days, actually. I've been doing this my entire career. And over the 10 years, let's just say that I've been doing this in art, one thing that I've noticed is out of all the artists, big and small, that I've seen running Facebook and Instagram ads, none of them ever do it consistently. And you want to know why? Because it's not profitable. They all quit because it's not profitable. Anyone that you ever see, and now that I've said this to you, you guys will be aware of it. You'll see an artist that's, if you guys have the sophistication to know what an ad looks like versus not, sometimes they make it hard to see. I don't care. You could take your Twitter, X, Instagram, Facebook, any of them. You'll notice an ads campaign from an artist, and that'll be the last time you notice it because they're going to quit shortly thereafter because it doesn't work in that capacity. Where it does is to warm audiences, okay? And to give you an example of that in the Facebook, Instagram context, okay? I teach my customers how to advertise to warm audiences. Warm audiences is essentially what I call a kitchen sink audience, okay? So who goes into that? You upload your email list. Every email you have goes into the warm audience. You take an engagement audience. So anyone that's engaged with you on Instagram in the last 365 days, liked, commented, shared, sent you a message, any of that, watched a video, all of that goes in. So too for Facebook, all of that goes in. If you have a website, you have a pixel on your website that's registering visitors, that goes in. That collectively becomes the kitchen sink audience. It is worthwhile to advertise in that capacity, but you have to reach certain thresholds to get there, i.e., you're really going to send me down the ads rabbit hole. Am I going too deep on this already, or did that mostly answer it? Mike,
That's
I'm asking.
good. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, and the 11th commandment of art and photography marketing is thou shalt not boost posts ever. I know it looks easy. I know it looks kind of fun. There's that boost button. I can just move up to the casino at Instagram and give them $15 and see what happens, right? You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to spend $50 on here and see what happens. Do you know what you're going to end up doing? Lighting that money on fire. So you might as well light it on fire in the physical world and get a little warmth out of it, and then you can say you got some ROI on it, because otherwise you're going to get a bunch of likes and comments, but no follows, no purchases, none of it, none of the above. So that's how I answer that. But that's okay. There's a ton of like more effective ways to advertise, and one of the things that I teach, and if you guys have not, oh no, did it derp out? No, there it is. If you guys have not subscribed to the podcast, you should subscribe to the podcast. Okay. It's called the Art Marketing Podcast. It's absolutely anywhere that you might find a podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcast, it's on all of them, right? I have an episode here. It's called number 55. Okay. It says smart artists don't run ads. Instead, they do this. And I introduced a marketing concept in there called the loop, which is essentially just a print or a merch giveaway and how you go about doing it. Highly recommend you guys listen to that. It covers the entire thing in depth, and it's genius, and that is what I advise the majority of my customers to do in lieu of ever putting $1 into the Facebook, Instagram, Google, LinkedIn ads. Take your pick, any of them, casino, because that's really what it is. Tage was asking about LinkedIn. You know, we play the long game here, right? And like one of the things that I know more than anything else is like when you're playing the long game, you know that there's always going to be some jostling amongst the platforms. Facebook was hot for a while, and now Instagram's the hot one on the block. Maybe that'll change in the future, but none of them are like MySpace anymore where they're going to like blow it. They're all going to be here forever. And LinkedIn, I've actually been hearing some positive things about recently. The hard thing is that I see a little bit of success here and there, but it's just nowhere near as not profound, but nowhere near as voluminous as the success I see on Instagram. And so really the question that you're asking me is like, hey, is it possible to see an ROI from marketing on LinkedIn? Yeah, but let's say it's like a 1x ROI and Instagram's a 10x ROI. And if you look at that, you have to say to yourself, okay, any hour that I spend on LinkedIn, I'm only going to get 1 unit of value back. And then any hour I spend on Instagram, I have the potential to get 10x back. So I need to max out Instagram first and worry about everything else afterwards, right? And so I'm able to make a lot of those snap decisions because I have 11,000 customers, every niche imaginable, every season of life imaginable, all over this country, all over other countries. And there's a whole bunch of things that people say work for them and help make them successful. And then I look in the data and I don't see any of it. I don't see any of it. Like everyone's like, oh, TikTok, you know, not you guys, but the younger kids are like, oh, TikTok's so great. I'm like, yeah. What have you sold that you can directly attribute to TikTok? Go ahead and tell me. I'll wait. Yeah, well, likes and comment. No. I don't care about the likes. I don't care about the comments. I don't care about the video views. Those are all bullshit metrics, dopamine hits to keep the hamster on a wheel. What have you actually sold as a result of activity on that? People love to tell me about Pinterest, okay? I don't think I've seen a single solitary transaction come through Pinterest for any of my customers in 10 years' time, 11,000 of them. Not one! Pinterest, if you're on there, is your hobby. That's fine. Okay, it's enjoyable, it's visual, but it's a hobby. It's not going to help you sell your art, right? And SEO is essentially the same thing too. It just doesn't work. It's not effective. So we want to maximize the ones that are working. So that's kind of how I like to talk about it. Oh, Mike, you were asking about what labs. So we're essentially partnered with 3 in the United States. Canada is that sticky tariff situation, so we have one in Canada. We're trying to iron out how to do that. Like, what the hell is the deal with Canada and the United States and tariffs? I thought past NAFTA. Need to get over that. Anyway, Bay Photo on the West Coast, Graphic Dimensions on the East Coast. They're both massive. Bay Photo is like the big retail one that everyone knows about. Graphic Dimensions is the same size, but they don't do forward-facing. It's not like a walk-in shop, but they're both huge. And then for merch, we use this company called Guten, and you can look them up. And so those are the 3 POD providers, and you pick one or the other in terms of the print providers, and then Guten is just the one that we use for merch right now, which is, you know, it's a great thing. Like, I mean, one of the most incredible things that's ever happened to you guys is the fact that all of this POD exists. Like in my day when you were coming up, you wanted to do a calendar, you had to do minimum $1,500 of those things, and then you had to sit the boxes somewhere in your house and then pray to God you sold enough as the hourglass of sand is dumping out with every passing month, right? And then you're left with a bunch of these things. Now the fact that one can go, boom, you don't have any inventory, it's great. And what no one understands about the merch has got nothing to do with you making money. You're not going to make a ton of money on merch, a couple of bucks here or there, but you're acquiring customers, which can then potentially become, you know, collectors. So that's how it goes. Yeah. All right. What else? Yeah. So how much did the services cost? You got a bunch of you guys asking about service costs. All of you guys should just go and get a demo so you can go through all of the things. I can essentially give you a range. We're way more expensive than anyone else. And we're way more inexpensive than anyone else for a very good reason, because that's what we've determined that you guys need to give you the greatest chance at being successful, right? So the way that we do things, you pay a monthly fee for the website. That's easy to understand. That's what all the rest of them do. And then you pay a one-time fee to get into the university, which I think is like $1,500 or $1,600 now. So we are not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, right? And we're also not the only gig in town. But we believe that the support structure, all of the webinars that we teach, the education, the constant support that we offer is what it takes to give you guys the single solitary best shot, right? Like, there's this crazy stat from Shopify. And if you don't know Shopify, an amazing company started by a German guy in Canada, but it actually has the highest market cap, I think, of any stock on the Canadian Stock Exchange. Huge company, great company, amazing company. Okay, and they have a stat, right? And their stat, I'm looking at my notes here, pulling it up, but I think the stat was from 2021. I think, was it 2021? Come on, I thought I had it here in my notes. I might not be able to search it. I might just have to, oh, here it is. No, thought I had it. Okay, I don't. Wait. I'm just going to tell you it. So the stat that Shopify had was in 2021, the average store, the person that signed up lasted a little bit less than 5 months, and then they canceled. And it's not because Shopify's product's not great. Shopify's product's great. It's amazing, incredible website. Love what they do. We're better at selling art than they are, but that's not because we're a better company. It's because we focus just on selling art, and Shopify sells everything under the sun, right? But why did those people all fail? Because Shopify didn't have any support structure to carry those people through the entire journey. It's because a website is not enough, right? Like the people that sign up for Shopify, you get your website live, you go through that whole thing. It's like, good luck, right? You can listen to some podcasts, or you can search around for blog posts versus us. No. Class is 9 days a week, every single solitary week. Here's what we're doing this week. Here's what we're doing next week, year after year after year. And if you don't have that support, then it's roll your own, and that is really, really hard to do. So that's what I would say. Any other questions, guys? Finals before we wrap it up? Oh, Joan's asking, how do you know which Instagram inquiries are legitimate buyers? Every single one I've gotten appears to be a scam, but I'm not sure. Yeah, the majority, like, no different than the real world, Joan, than, if somebody asks you a real question, they're a real person. If they ask you to put your art on NFTs, it is a scam. If they ask you for anything not involving a normal conversation, it is a scam. Use your real world, ideas. And it sucks because they know all of you guys, and it's not just you. It's like, all of the artists out there, right? Like you guys, writers, musicians, all of it. Like, you're just dying for a little bit of feedback. Like, oh, someone's interested in my art. Someone's coming to take a look at it. They love it. They want it. It's so you're so open and receptive to those predatory messages, which sucks. The ones that are real, that piece is amazing. How much does it cost, and does it come in a 24 by 36? That is real. Joan, I would love for you to put your art as an NFT. Can you just open an account here and send me 15 Bitcoin? That's a scam, right? I can do such and such for you, pay me money, all scams, right? The one that looks like a real message from a real human being, that's legit, right? So that's what I would say. Yeah, Nicole, I've roughly covered pricing. I think you're looking at, and again, don't hold me to this because I don't know exactly what the numbers are when they're running a sale and everything else. But our websites, depending on which one you get, bells and whistles, I think is like $49, $59, $69 a month, and then you pay the one-time fee to get into the university, which I think is like $1,600 or $1,700. But don't hold me to it exactly. You can go and get a demo, and they'll walk you through all of it. It's a good idea to do anyway, whether you have any desire to sign up or not, because you get to see, how we look at things, approach things, what's important on the website, what the community looks like. It's just helpful to have the data point as you decide what's the best route for you, Trying to think what else. I told you guys about Thursday. Yeah, I think you guys should come on Thursday. I think you guys will all learn a ton from Betty. She's insane. She's amazing. If you either one of you should go back and listen to these two. If you guys think I'm kidding, I've gotten more feedback on these two posts, right, which were the first two in the series. You just don't realize until you get let me put it this way. When an artist that's been this successful talks, that it's true in 2 seconds because of how insightful their wisdom is, right? And both of them, Jonah, especially his polish for how young he is. Meg's a little bit younger than me. I'm 44. Do you see how I got away with saying her name without actually saying her name, maintaining my male dignity there? They are so polished, both of them, and how they approach it. And in both cases, in both of these posts, and don't worry, I'm going to send them to you. I think you should listen to them And you'll be like, okay, he's right. I got to come on Thursday. And no joke, I don't care if you're a customer or not a customer. I'm going to do the same queue. I'm going to interview her for 1 hour. I'm going to do the same queue, the same line, and you can throw questions in the chat as we're rolling along, the whole thing. So all of that will be on Thursday. Oh no, my computer is doing a freeze thing. Hope you guys can still hear me. Whew, you never know. You never know what's going to come back from that. But let me throw the Zoom in there. I recommend every single solitary one of you just register for that now, even if you can't go, because even if you can't go, and I already have your email address, it's not like you're giving me your email address again. Even if you can't go, I'll send the replay to that. That's just part of my normal system. So I definitely think you guys should come to that. That's going to be awesome. And we're going to continue doing them too as the year goes on. I've got so many quirky people, like, you know, the question I get all the time, which I think is so interesting, is like, what is the average artist or photographer make that's signed up for art storefronts and on your platform, right? And I'm like, I can't answer it. And the reason I can't answer it is because I have it is such a multivariate equation. Like, every single solitary customer has a different niche, different revenue sources. Some of them are selling services. Some of them are selling class. Some of them are just selling wall art. Some of them are selling books. Some of them have a retail location and then an online location. I mean, it's just, it's all over the place, right? And I think it's really helpful to learn about these artists that have the multiple different revenue sources. Like, you know, Jonah sells $100,000 worth of books a year. Like, that's a huge revenue source for him, and that's super helpful. How did he do that? Like, what does that look like, right? And so you know, don't think that it's just about you selling your wall art and that's it, right? Understand that having other revenue sources is totally okay, right? Like, look in Sarah Lee's case, right? So she's got the retail store. It's seasonal. She knows she needs to rock that retail store like crazy. Then she needs to figure out how to do marketing to the people that came on that cruise and have this romantic idea of that place. And then she's got to go and get everyone else that didn't come on a cruise, right? So there's all these different, you know, revenue sources and pieces to the equation. So, all right, great session today. Appreciate all of you. I'm going to send you the replay. Get a demo if that's what you're interested in, and take a look. You know, they'll walk you through all the things. If I said they were going to call you back, they're going to call you back. There was 2 of you. That will happen without question. And then what else? I think that's it. I think I've talked myself into circles. But I'll email you the thing. I want to see you guys on Thursday. The Betty thing is going to be awesome. Okay?